So the Nintendo Switch has 75 games confirmed for its first year. Now, I'm optimistically hopeful, but at the same time, I'm kind of concerned because it one, it has the smallest launch library ever in the history of Nintendo. I mean, the Wii had a large launch library. Even the Wii U had a very, very strong launch lineup of games, even though half of them sucked, but it still had a good launch lineup. I am hopeful, and this is going with a grain of salt because I honestly don't know what the Wii's future is, but I am hopeful that the Switch will be successful. I'm so hopeful. I'm crossing my fingers. Now, I'm hopeful because of the fact that I was looking at these 75 games that are confirmed for the Switch's first year. Now, if you guys want to know, the Wii U in its first year had about 100 plus games for it in its first year. The Switch, with the games confirmed so far, is up to about 75 games. So it's short out of the Wii U's 100 plus games that it launched first year. But I'm hopeful because I'm seeing a lot of diversity that are in these games. A lot of the games are made from a lot of different third party developers, which is what the Wii U didn't have in its first year, which has ultimately led to its decline. And it took them so long to make a profit. And by then, it was just too late. So I'm seeing a lot of diversity, and this is what the Switch needs. The Switch needs that diversity between first party and third party developers. It needs that balance. Now, I'm still seeing more first party titles, but I'm seeing more third party support for the Switch with this lineup. And just in this video alone, I was reading, and another third party developer has said that they are going to be releasing a Nintendo Switch game in 2017. They didn't give a specific date, but they said that they are in negotiations with Nintendo to make a game for Nintendo Switch. That is huge news. Going closer and closer to the Switch's release date, I'm seeing a lot of positive, responses, a lot of positive comments with third party developers on how they're making games for the Switch. Whether it's true optimism or whether they're just trying to hype up their own propaganda, who god knows, but it's all good publicity for the Switch at this point. I mean, Nintendo has finally released official specs of the Switch. Everything else is pretty much that's on that list already has been more or less confirmed in one way or another. The only thing is they still did not say what type of CPU and GPU they're going to be used. They just said custom NVIDIA Tegra chip. Odds are it's the X1. It's very slim chance it's the X2, but hey, only when launch date comes and somebody cracks open the Switch and actually tells us what it is, Nintendo ain't gonna do it. So, hackers, we need you on this one. What is Nintendo using for their Switch? But I digressed a bit and going back to the diversity of these Switch games. They're huge. I'm seeing a lot of diversity. I'm seeing a lot of developers that I haven't seen develop games for Nintendo before. Um, some developers I actually had to Google because I didn't know them, but it's looking very good for the Switch in terms of third party support. Now, the question for third party support is the fact that will the games run as good as, let's say, if that same game gets ported onto another console? That's going to be the Switch's challenge. I mean, give you guys an example. Skyrim did not perform well on PS3 and Xbox 360. And even the special edition now um is kind of like a hit and miss with actually PCs because of the fact there's a lot of bugs. Same thing with the original Skyrim. On consoles and PC, it had a lot of bugs and the performance was just it got better, but it was still trouble. And that was primarily due to the hardware limitations of consoles. I remember when Skyrim was finally brought to the PlayStation 3, it was they expressed how difficult it was to port Skyrim to the PlayStation 3 because of the PlayStation 3's hardware and their X RAM, if I recall correctly. But This is what the Switch needs. If they could make I'm not saying just about Skyrim, but I'm saying like if they are gonna port, games from other consoles from other generations, if they could make the games run just as good and better, it will give more incentive to people to buy a Switch. Especially that Nintendo is going so heavy on you could take your AAA titles anywhere with you, which is what gamers wanted for so long. I mean, I could imagine. I mean, for so long, I actually wanted to take my Call of Duty, my Borderlands, my YS, my Kingdom Hearts, take it with me on the go. That AAA experience and the AAA graphics and the AAA everything, take it on the go with me. Nintendo is heavy pushing that. So if they can make these ports work just as good, if not better, it will give incentive to people to buy the Switch. And honestly, it's looking hopeful. It's looking good. Just looking at this chart and the fact that they are going for this third party support, it's just awesome. I mean, I know Nintendo has a long way to go, but looking at this chart, even though their launch lineup is weak, their year their year one gaming list is not as strong as the Wii and the Wii U. It's diverse, and that's what Nintendo needs. And I really hope Nintendo succeeds. Comment below, guys. I really want to hear your opinions. Thank you so much for supporting me and my channel. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much. And as always, have an awesome day.